It was a kind of Sunday that felt like a small, illicit holiday, slow, sun-soft, and perfectly ordinary. I was out back mowing the lawn, earbuds and the faint hum of a podcast keeping my hands busy while the day warmed. Leah had told me she was spending the weekend at her sister's, helping with the move, and I believed her. We'd been married 8 years. Not fireworks and poetry, but steady familiar. The kind of life you stopped checking every detail of. There were small things I noticed, late-night texts she waved off as work, longer showers, a newly religious relationship with the gym. But I explained them away. Stress, I told myself. Schedules. People change. Betrayal never occurred to me. At 3:30 p.m., the doorbell broke the silence. I wiped sweat from my forehead, pulled the earbuds out, and went to the front door thinking it might be a delivery. Standing on my porch was a man in his mid-30s, fit neatly dressed and oddly unsettled, like his nervous energy barely fit inside him. He looked at me with pity and guilt braided together. "You must be Andrew," he said. "Yeah. Can I help you?" I asked, trying to place him. He swallowed and then said the words that changed everything. "I've been seeing your wife." No anger. No accusation. Only a strange, stunned courtesy. My mind stalled. He told me his name was Damien. He said he didn't know she was married. She'd told him she was separated and that I lived in another state. He had followed her, he said quietly. He had seen me through a window and couldn't sleep until he came to tell me. He handed me his phone. Images and messages rolled across the screen. Leah laughing in his arms, a restaurant. A picture taken in what looked like a hotel room. A timestamp from a night she'd said she'd had a late meeting downtown. I remember that night. I'd stayed up waiting. She'd returned at 2 a.m. with a different soap scent on her clothes. The room lurched. When he left, he walked away like someone who performed a mercy, not a malice. I stood there until he was out of sight, then went inside like a ghost and opened Leah's drawer. In the wooden box she guarded was a prepaid phone I'd never seen. I turned it on. Messages, voice notes, explicit photos. Names, Damien, Mateo, Josh, each voice and text a different language of intimacy. One worshiper is an angel, another left a breathy, "Thanks for last night," and another joked about our planned cabin getaway, as if it were no more than a backdrop. She wasn't having a single affair. She had been running parallel lives. When Leah walked through the door that night, she was smiling and humming the way she always did. "Kiss me on the cheek," she said, dropping her bag. I held the phone up. The smile faltered, then disappeared. I didn't shout. I didn't throw. She sat down, hands in her lap, and looked like a small child being told off. "I never meant to hurt you," she said. The words were small and thin and useless. When I asked how long, she admitted Damien had been the longest. The others, she said, were phases. When I asked why, she said, simply that with me she felt safe but not seen. Those were explanations. They were not answers. For a moment, I thought of every way I could explode. The rehearsed lines, the evidence I'd stacked in my head for months. Instead, something quieter happened. Something like a death. The husband I had been, the trusting shape I'd occupied for 8 years, folded inward and was gone. In its place stood someone ragged and awake. Seeing Leah not as a partner he thought he knew, but as someone who'd been wearing a mask. I packed a bag and told her I needed space. She didn't beg, didn't fight. Maybe she understood in the small, absolute way that some fissures cannot be smoothed. It's been 6 months. I've moved into a small place by the lake. I run again in the mornings until my lungs remember their rhythm. I sleep better, though trust is a muscle that now cramps at the slightest strain. I don't know whether what happened is an ending or a beginning, maybe both, but I do know this. The day Damien walked onto my porch and told me the truth was the day I stopped pretending everything was as it had seemed. Pain cut the first tracks, yes, but so did clarity. For the first time in a long while, I can see the horizon without her shadow covering it. If waking up from that lie cost me what we had, then waking up, however brutal, was worth it.